Right in between the Mazda CX-3 and the CX-5 is now the new Mazda CX-30. So a new, small or compact SUV by Mazda. And here on Autogefühl, your number one resource for in-depth car reviews and your number one community to discuss cars. Today with Thomas, we're going to take on a detailed tour on the exterior, different colors, the interior, different trims, and of course the driving experience. And special today, we compare the Skyactiv-G, the normal naturally aspirated petrol engine, with the all-new engine, the Skyactiv-X. This petrol engine with a self-ignition, so with a petrol engine with the diesel technology. Very interesting. And also the engine comparison. Which one should you actually go for? Let's find out together in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! Please subscribe if you haven't done so far, so you'll be updated with all the latest reviews. Here, the Mazda CX-30 now. The front, it does have some resemblance definitely to the other Mazda family, but also the new Mazda 3 because they share, Mazda 3 and Mazda CX-30, the very same platform. So it gets all the technology from the new Mazda 3. Here also with a very three-dimensional front grille, this dot design, and you do not need a special style trim for that. They introduced that logic with the Mazda 3, so even the base version looks elaborate and sporty. I think that's quite a cool decision. LED is also standard, those lamps, and the daytime running light here is in the lower part. And the headlamps, here again with a nice three-dimensional design. Optional also available as matrix LED, and of course with a more elaborated high beam function. Again, very modern design. I'm not sure, it's rather contemporary, so I'm not sure if it's timeless, but definitely good looking, I would say, especially in this very bright red color. So what's your take here? Ground clearance, by the way, here is 17.5 centimeters. Yeah, it's not an off-road vehicle. Front-wheel drive base, optional all-wheel drive, however, available. And soon I'll tell you more details about the engines. Let's finish up the exterior first. 4 meters 39, 14 foot 4 or 173 inches is the length here of the CX-30. And that means 12 centimeters longer or 5 inches longer than the CX-3 or 15 centimeters shorter or 6 inches shorter than the CX-5. And also price-wise, the CX-30 is indeed between the CX-3 and the CX-5. So length and price-wise in between. Entry price, for example, in Germany is 24k, and that's about 3,000 euros cheaper than the CX-5, and then about 5,000 euros more expensive than the CX-3. Very interesting. Then here those very big crossover wheel arches. This is significant for the CX-30. Yeah, I said the best styling element. I'm not sure. I think it would have been a little bit better when I made it a little bit slimmer, a little bit more subtle. Then 16 or 18-inch wheels. Those ones are the optional 18-inch wheels. And the color for today is Soul Red Crystal, but we soon also have other colors for you. And then we have this strong shoulder line right there and this somewhat coupe style in the rear ending. Not too dramatic from the exterior, but overall I think a likable design. And again, they really have very interesting colors. What's your first impression, guys? We also have a modern rear design right here, also with this horizontal light LED structure, and then the round one together with that. It looks a little bit like, the Jaguar E-Type or F-Type design. What's your take on that? And also, same as in the side profile, those crossover plastic areas are very large here in the CX-30. This one, by the way, a real exhaust tip, so no fake exhaust here. And interesting is that the Skyactiv-G, the naturally aspirated petrol engine, it does not need a particle filter because only those small turbo petrol engines, they need the particle filter, same as with the diesels. It's just how the engines work. And we also have more colors for you. This one, by the way, here is called Matrix Gray. Which one will be your favorite color for today? Leave me a comment here in the comment section. And this one here is called Snowflake White Pearl. Yeah, funny name for white. Usually it's like Alpine White or something. Whatever, Snowflake White Pearl. And here, of course, as the CX-30 has those really big crossover wheel arches in the black plastic cladding. That one then, of course, here in white, gives you the biggest contrast. Or what about polymetal grey? This one has some kind of blue nose. It's also available for the Mazda 3, for example. So what about engines? There will be a 1.8 liter diesel with 116 horsepower. Then there will be a Skyactiv-G, that's the naturally aspirated petrol engine, the one we can also see here, 2 liter of displacement, 122 horsepower. And then the new Skyactiv-X, which is also a petrol engine without a turbo but with a compressor. This one then to self-ignite the fuel like a diesel would do. So a petrol engine with some, let's say, diesel features. The Skyactiv-X also 2 liter of displacement, but then 180 horsepower, so a little bit stronger than that one. And for all engines, you can either get a 6-speed manual gearbox or a 6-speed automatic transmission. You can also optionally get an all-wheel drive, manual or automatic, front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. This is of course front plus rear on demand. And do you also go option for the Skyactiv-X, which is almost the same price point as the diesel, but this one here, the pure petrol engine, will be cheaper. Today we will drive this petrol engine and also the Skyactiv-X exclusively for the very first time in the series production model, and also tell you later on which one might be the best pick for you. The car key sadly feels a little bit cheap, not too good. Will probably also collect scratches quite a lot, and the open and closing function is very small at the side, so also not really practical. Yeah, about that. Then door closing sound. Really doesn't sound too good. So that's a weak point of this car, but there will be a lot of strength coming up now. For example, soft touch here at the inside of the doors. Then there are different trims available here. This is a brown leatherette, but there will be more cool stuff coming up. Either 8 speakers or optional for 750 euros, 12 speaker Bose sound system. I can recommend for music lovers, pretty nice. Then door pockets are rather slim but still work. Then this interior, you see some resemblance, Mazda 3 of course, same platform, same parts and so on. Sporty steering wheel, left side for the volume control, for example, right side for the cruise control, and I mean just a very sporty and simple and clean style. Zoom more to the dials. Here you can already again see this, there's brown color, but there's like not in the leather red, but like just soft touch again, but stepped up the build quality in the newer Mazdas. This one, the animal skin seats, middle part animal skin, outside leather red. But there will be nice fabric seats available. I will soon show that to you. And there are also different colors of leather red available if you want to spare some animals. Then let's take a seat. And indeed, yeah, it is somewhat resembling to the Mazda 3, but you sit more upright, a little bit more comfortable. So if you seek more comfort, then this one here will be better than the Mazda 3. And if you compare it inside the segment, this is definitely a nice, cozy and good seating position, also for longer journeys. Headroom, plenty here with 1.86 or 6'1", and we will also soon have a car with panoramic roof that we can compare it. The panoramic roof would be one option, but the coolest thing about this vehicle is so many things you will see here are standard equipment. Yes, of course, some extras still, as I said, the Bose sound system, the panoramic roof, the rear view camera is optional, 18 instead of 16-inch wheels, this is also optional, electric seats is optional. And the animal skin pack, again, better to stick with the fabric anyway to save money. But that's about it. You will be surprised. So many things are included. For example, also in the side mirrors, the blind spot monitor, where you have this triangle that flashes, is standard equipment. The autonomous emergency brake, yes, that's meanwhile pretty common, is also standard equipment. The cruise control, which we have here, in an adaptive way, the ACC, is standard equipment. And we will also soon show you the head-up display. This is also standard equipment. And also this screen here in 8.8 inches, this one also standard equipment. Even with Apple CarPlay connection, also standard. So that's pretty decent. So that means basically you can buy this car stock as base version and will have most features. Interior overview, a nice central design, clean, but yet with some interesting lines right there. This one is also soft touch, so really great build quality. Here even metal knurling around the knobs for the climate unit. Very well accessible, by the way, also while driving. When we soon drive the car, I will tell you more about it, how it behaves while driving. Steering wheel heating and seat heating is available. This one, by the way, also one of the few options. But then again, cool that we have so many standard features I just mentioned. Those instruments here, 7-inch digital screen in the middle. Yes, the middle one is digital and the outside ones are analog. Then the head-up display, you can see the current speed, allowed speed, and there will be also some GPS information, for example, when you have a route set. Then soon more deals to that screen. And they have not done it with touch, so you cannot even reach it very well. Then it need to be here, so it's a little bit better as for integration. They said it's safer when you don't use touchscreen while driving. So far, Mazda had that function that in standstill you could use it with touch, and while driving not. That was also maybe a good compromise. Here again, they use this central control knob. And the funny thing is, actually I think touchscreen is on the one hand easier, but I've been using it now for a couple of hours and I was finding the functions quite easy, and I could very well control it also without touch. So positive impression for me there. Then you have a separate volume knob still in the lower console. Other than that, in the front part there's either this closed cover, and it's not exactly black piano lacquer plain. There's a structure inside. Then in front of that you also have space for a smartphone or something. You also have the USB port, and it works with the connection. Or you can open this one here for adaptive cup holders. Then again this central control knob, also with some hotkeys. And this armrest, you can slide it backwards first. And after you have done that, then you can actually open it, and there's some storage underneath. And here, as I said, the outer parts are analog, and the middle one, although it looks analog, is digital. And therefore you can also switch the views to a bigger digital tachometer, and for example, the adaptive cruise control distance view, or here then again to this analog digital view, or then to the consumption info in the middle. So overall also pretty decent. Now the infotainment system up close. I would have not imagined that I'm really fine with no touchscreen, but it's actually very easy to control. Right here, this is the GPS. Yeah, the software view could be a little bit more elaborated. As for the visualization, that's maybe one slight flaw, but it led us the way quite well, so no problem with that. Then this one here is the main menu, and it's kept pretty simple and easy, so browse through that. Also, when you want to access the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you just press right on this turning and pressing knob in the lower end, and then you get to this menu here. You can get back to the Mazda menu here as well, and you see they use all of the screen too, and the sound system is really cool. So we'll test a little bit of that. Nice song, by the way, I can recommend it. Put it on YouTube. It's great surround sound with this optional Bose sound system, and I'm finding all the options quite fast. So when I'm going here to the sound system, for example, audio settings, you can control the Bose center sound system, and either it comes a little bit from the front, like a studio atmosphere or concert atmosphere, or when you put the Bose center point on to 1, 2, or 3, then you more have this surround sound, which I personally prefer. Both sound great, but surround sound just rocks, I think. So the infotainment system, I think, rated very well. They kept their software quite easy and simple. From the menu structure, it reminds me a little bit of the Alpha systems, but this one here definitely easier to control. And again, with the hotkeys, here again to the GPS, which you can also reach via the lower console. So I think that's overall a good decision. The only thing I could imagine maybe, when you're at a destination, then of course using the touchscreen is maybe a little bit easier than using this typical search function where you start doing it like this then here. And the rear view camera up close. This is also pretty cool because they have a good resolution here, and then there's this fake drone view from above. And indeed, if you compare to the other Mazda models, this is the best resolution, of course, together with the new Mazda 3. Oh, by the way, should you see a slight flickering here of the display, that's just on camera. We tried everything with the camera. It was really hard to reduce it at least, but I can tell you it's not with your own eyes. The top area is also interesting here for your glass and has also clicking. Satisfying there. Then, this is cool. Here, frameless rear mirror, so also a nice premium feature definitely. And then significant sunshade, everything in bright fabric here, the ceiling, that's cool. And then also there's a light when you want to check it out. Yo, what's up? And now to the interior of the white car, because I want to show you, again, soft touch black here, and then the color scheme here is blue. So it's a dark blue, really interesting. It's hard to see it maybe at the moment in this light on camera, but this is also a blue leatherette. Feels good, looks good, white contrast stitches, and adds some more spice than if it would be just black, you know. And also here on the dashboard, also maybe hard to see in the light, this one is black, this part, and then the top part is also soft touch blue color with white contrast stitches. Then those ones here are also the recommended base fabric seats. They keep you cooler in summertime and warmer in wintertime, and they don't cost anything extra. And you can see here the middle armrest is also covered with the blue leatherette, so a very cool style. We usually see that like in high-class, premium or even luxury vehicles, also throughout the middle console. So I think it's a very good idea, and the whole dashboard also, soon another perspective of that. And you can get in and out pretty easily, and those fabric seats are also a little bit softer as for the top cushion, because the animal skin material is a little bit tighter. It will also somewhat be the same when you pick the leatherette option for the seats. So also if you just think about practicality, then it's also a good choice here. And this one, by the way, here also with the manual control for the front part, and here to pump it up y'all. And this is really solid as for the functions. Of course, the electric one does offer some more comfort, yes, but we also try to keep the price low. Yes, this car already has a lot of included equipment, but there are still some extras left, yes, but I think you can also very well live with that. So this one is actually the most comfortable setup, and I really love the blue contrast we have here, and again also very cool to the white exterior. So probably I will take the car exactly as it stands here now. Or what's your take? And here again, look at this dashboard, all then in this subtle blue tone. Looks so premium, great idea. So what do you think? Please leave me some comments here to the blue interior. What about this rear compartment? Yeah, the sound of the rear doors is actually not too good, and here we have the hard plastics on the rear, but okay, remember the price point. This is a great price performance car, so some flaws I guess are also allowed, especially since we have so many details we've shown to you which are really very nicely processed. For example, also leatherette at the inside of the doors in the lower area. Well, legroom wise, of course, it's not the longest car, and we've also seen cars with a better package. I do fit in here, and it's a little bit better than in the CX-3, but still, you know, for 4 tall adults, you're a little bit limited. That would be still an advantage than for the CX-5 with the legroom, definitely. So yeah, it's not recommended to drive with 4 tall adults all the time here. But at least it somehow works. And I mean, the seating position itself, when you have a little bit shorter legs, is very comfortable. Upright and also with a headroom, that works very well, no problem. We'll also soon compare it again to the one with a panoramic roof. Then in the middle part here, cup holders also adaptive for this armrest. Isofix at the outside seats, and basically that's about it. So they kept it rather simple in here. Yeah, again, I think the seating position here is also upright and very comfortable. Just again, you know, with the legs, you maybe have like, when you sit like this, spread your legs there a little bit, then it's also easier. In the middle part, you are allowed to sit. There is a significant middle tunnel with this car, and it's also, you know, quite soft. It will be even softer if you have the fabric seats, and headroom-wise, it also works, but only when you don't have the panoramic roof. Okay, that's about a small hint. We will soon take a look at that. And here we have a car with a panoramic roof. That one is indeed an option, and there is a manual cover for that, and then you can also slide it open electrically. So it's not the biggest opening, but that's, you know, definitely a way to leave some fresh air in. And the question is, what about the headroom? So when I put the seat all the way down, yeah, you do lose some headroom. So that comes quite close then with one with A6 or 6 with 1. So the other one, of course, more headroom. So if you're really tall, you cannot go for it. Hey guys, You down there? Yeah, Holger always loves special camera shots. And well, here in the rear, the panoramic roof is not such a problem. The roof raises just a little bit right there, so it's okay. But still, there's this thick area right here, so it is somewhat also disturbing. Again, it just plays a role when you're really tall. When you're a little bit smaller, then you can easily go for the panoramic roof, if you want one, of course. Now to the trunk. Yeah, it takes a while to open with the electric hatch here, but nice option to have it available. 430 liters is the capacity, and you can see it's very well usable. Good square dimensions. You can either have this optional sound system in here, other than that also replacement tire. And some possibilities to, put things right here inside. Anchor points, top tether at the rear. And then let's put a cabin trolley inside here that you can see it also. Like this, it also fits vertically. So that might be then better than the CX-3, which is a little bit smaller in here. As for the measurements, the length is about 80 centimeters and the width is just about a meter. And if we flip those seats, we can hardly just do it from here. We have to go around, so you have to go to the rear compartment for that. A little bit unconventional today. So like this, 2/3, 1/3 split. There we go. There's a split right here. And I mean, we've seen a lot of details which are very well processed, but this one here, like this transition is, I mean, it's not the worst, definitely, but seen more beautiful solutions for that. And then to the seat as I would be driving, that would be a length of about 1.55 meters. Child safety. Yeah, it's a little bit stronger than maybe some other hatches, but I think still acceptable. Now it goes up again. Oh, by the way, can we also define how it will close? Let's see if that works. Yeah, that seems to work. So we try it, so now we close it. And the next time it opens, it should actually remain in the position as I was holding the button then. So if you have a low basement garage or something. Did that work, see? Yeah, see that was the difference then. And now when you want to have it all opened, push it all the way open manual and then hold it again. There, when you have the sound, then it will next time go all the way open once again. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the new Mazda CX-30. Here, first drive with the 2-liter petrol engine, naturally aspirated at 120 horsepower, front-wheel drive and manual gearbox. So it's the cheapest one you can actually get, and can we also recommend the cheapest one? Let's find out right now. We're starting here on the motorway. The first thing we realize is really silent, driving 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour at the moment, and it's really decently silent in here. That's because in the new Mazda 3 generation with this new platform, which is also shared by this vehicle, they especially increased here the noise insulation at the level of your head, of your ears, and that is really helpful indeed. The manual gearbox will also experience a little bit more when we drive off the motorway very soon, but how we put in the gears is very smooth but crisp at the same time. So there's not big resistance, but when you put in the gears, it's just exactly the right feedback you might want to have. So that's pretty cool. I am a fan of automatic gearbox just for comfort reasons. And most of them also sportier, but this manual gearbox is, anything you might desire. So that's totally fine. Getting into the next toll booth, but we have an automatic B-pane here, so we can go through quite fastly. And the whole car delivers a very connected experience from driver, road and street. That's also what Mazda intends to, but indeed this works right here. The steering has a very natural feeling. It is somewhat soft, yes, but you still feel connected to it. And also, as for the lane keeping assist, it doesn't annoy you too much, so you can still steer freely. That's cool. And here we can now also show you some acceleration. Of course, it's not a very powerful engine, and then the NAs have to be pushed a little bit. So let's accelerate from 30 kilometers I'm in the second gear, and let's just let it fly, see. There's not like any sports mode or something, but for manual gearbox, doesn't make any difference, so let's go. That's 90 of third gear. And that's 120. So yes, that takes a while. Maybe I could have also started in first gear, but first gear in 30, yeah, I mean, from standstill, of course. So yes, it doesn't have a big acceleration figure or something. But then again, for this street and city driving, it's actually sufficient. And again, I think the most important one about this is very silent from the engine. And also this engine saves money in the entry price. Also fuel consumption, driven a longer way now when we keep it a little bit steady. So not with too much city traffic, you can score as low as 6 liters on 100 kilometers. That's 39 mpg US or 47 mpg UK. Nothing that's totally acceptable, so that's quite decent. And again, the noise insulation is really good, especially also if you think about competitors in this segment. Well, the view to the B pillar is, not existent, but this blind spot monitor is really helpful. You have a yellow triangle that flashes then, so that's one of the most important features of this car then, due to the design with the very big B pillar. And also here at higher speeds, the car remains relatively stable. There's a standard suspension, which is rather set on a soft tone, so you see the car does lean somewhat in the corner, yes, but it's not that you would say, that would be annoying or so. When there are some uneven bumps in the road, then you feel that the suspension is not top of the segment, so that can get a little bit rough from time to time. So competitors which offer an adaptive suspension are better in this case. But from all the other aspects, I have to say, a lot of how the shifting feels, the steering feel, the overall feeling of being connected with the vehicle, the natural steering feeling. I also like the natural feel of the engine. I like to drive those naturally aspirated engines. They don't set in, exponentially from the power with the turbo. It's a very linear power delivery. I somehow like that. It's a smooth driving experience. So from a lot of different other elements, this is indeed among top of the segment. And also while driving, I realized, I can control the temperature very well. That's where it is, and volume up and down, or directly a mute button. So cruise control here on the right side, adaptive cruise control, working pretty well. Then nice clicking sound also when I use that one. The cruise control also flawless. Well, here with the manual gearbox up to 30 kilometers an hour. Below that it cancels because it would stall the engine. It makes more sense together with the automatic gearbox then. But everything is where it needs to be. I also have a view to the small head-up display, which is also giving me, just can keep my sight on the road level. That's also very helpful. Then also the soft touch materials, which gives us a cozy feeling. It's, we're feeling very comfortable here, Olga and me today. Olga's also giving thumbs up. So driven a longer way now on the motorway, and I'm quite sensitive when seats are not good. So then I get lower back pain. And that's not the case here at all. So I said earlier that they worked on the seat ergonomics, and that's really cool. Also more comfortable than the Mazda 3 because you have this rather upright SUV or crossover position. So indeed I would prefer it over the Mazda 3 for the comfort. The Mazda 3 of course drives sportier, but you feel that they are on the same platform. There is definitely resemblance also in driving feeling. Again, Mazda 3 if you want a sportier experience. This one here if you seek more comfort. Here again, nice with the gearbox, or also getting off the motorway now here to show you that it's this feeling, this feedback the shifter gives you. It's one of the best I've ever felt actually. So this would be one. Yeah, right. Yeah, this would be one of the cars I would probably even recommend a manual gearbox, but of course the automatic will also just do fine. All engines, no matter which variation you pick, are available in 6-speed manual or the 6-speed automatic. And do you need all-wheel drive for this vehicle? No, you can save the money. I mean, if you really need, like, if you want to go to like snow holidays with the car, maybe yes. But usually the front-wheel drive is just enough, especially with the weaker engine. Maybe if you have the Skyactiv-X with more power, then the all-wheel drive can make more sense. But here with this engine, I mean, that would be really a good tip to remain with the base engine, save money in the entry price, and then you will get a really attractive one. Also, this one is more comfortable than the CX-3, which is a little bit smaller. And do you have more comfort in CX-5? Yes, you feel it's bigger, even higher seating position and so on, but you're just really fine with this one already. So if the CX-5 is maybe too big for you. So I think this one here is a good compromise. And again, it's on the new platform, so more elaborate technology and so on. Also, what I've experienced here while driving the car is, I really thought before, seriously, a new car without a touchscreen? Why? But then I've been using this one. I mean, it would be too far away to reach it, so that's okay then. But you can still see it very well, although the software looks a little bit old school, so that would be one small criticism point. But the GPS guidance so far is nice. I also have some arrows then in the head-up display. And the thing is, everything I was searching for, I found it quite fast. So there's a hotkey then for the GPS. I can always return to the GPS in this central console. There's this knob controller where the premium manufacturers are starting to get rid of, Audi for example, and set all on touchscreen. But here, let's see. Welcome to Spain. Yeah, no one would drive that way in Germany, I guess. So in Germany, it's not possible to drive a roundabout. Everyone is waiting like for 2 hours, and then if there's a car 5 kilometers away, no, you cannot drive in the roundabout. Please let me drive first. And in Spain or France, everyone just drives in the roundabout, and everyone drives out, and everyone is happy. So, yeah, there are situations maybe where German drivers are, let's say maybe better educated in driving, but then roundabout. So like especially when we compare like driving in Sicily, we had in Sicily like everyone was driving all over the place. That was really funny. And we also had fans from Sicily who would say like, "Yeah, Thomas, you're absolutely right. That's totally the case here." But I really like roundabout driving, something for Spanish and the French. Well done. So the Germans cannot drive roundabouts. Always so frustrating to drive it. But back to the car here. So I think it's overall a very good compromise, size-wise, driving-wise, comfort with sportiness. I really think that also driving-wise is the best Mazda so far. And here I was talking about the infotainment system. So really important that we can get back to the GPS. This, they don't put too much knobs in here, but those are all the knobs I need actually. And I was searching for some stuff in the infotainment system and going to the home menu, and then it's like, oh, where did I found like setting for the sound or something? And everything I was finding, quite fastly. Also, when I want to switch to the CarPlay, I just click to the right side, and then we got the CarPlay in there. So indeed, especially while driving, the touchscreen can be more distracting. And Mazda said, yeah, we want to be safer as for that, for the control, and it's really safe to use this knob here while driving. Well, of course, best is you always concentrate on the road, always keep Bose in the steering wheel, yes, but we all want to do something with the infotainment system at some point. Good, of course, when we can set the adaptive cruise control here at the steering wheel, then it's also maybe a little bit safer to do that. But then I was finding everything I need quite fastly. So now I'm actually convinced that this might have been a good and wise decision. Again, I think it works when you control some stuff and then you don't realize you're missing something. And then we can really say, yeah, that was a good decision. So pretty cool as for that respect. Again, good shifting here. Here when we are at those countryside speeds, it's really very silent here. Holger and I were talking earlier about, life itself and meaning and the universe, and so and we could really do that in a very calm way. We are absolutely super relaxed. I did not have relaxing days recently. We were on the Fragrant Motor Show and we've been producing all day, all night, literally. But now I'm actually relaxed, more relaxed than before. So that's a really good sign. This car is giving me really positive vibes, and to me the most important thing is This is absolutely a premium car experience, but it's not a premium pricing. Yeah, the Mazdas might be a little bit more expensive than in the past, but I think it's so important that we can get those premium experiences also for cars which are more affordable than those, like, we recently had cars like with good performance, sporty riding, blah blah blah, and then like the real test vehicle like 70k, 80k, 90k, and it's like, what? You mean, yeah, some can afford that, yes, and congratulations, you got a maybe like good earning job, but I always try to think about people who either don't have so much money or maybe have money but don't want to spend so much money because they like, hey, can I get a car with a better price-performance ratio? And indeed, from the recent cars we've been driving, this one is a car with an excellent price-performance ratio. And I mean, all the features, that are available, of course, they cost extra, yes, and then you can also exceed the 30k in price. But if you think about, we have soft touch, we have like metal knurling knobs, we can control everything very well while driving. We have a blind spot monitor, we have the head-up display available, comfortable seats, and so what at the moment when we're driving could a premium car do better? Yeah, maybe like those, German premium cars. They are maybe a little bit sportier in the handling, like suspension-wise. So there's one small weakness was the suspension could be a little bit better. They could offer an adaptive suspension for that. The software visualization could be a little bit more sophisticated. But besides those small criticism points, this is really a perfect small or compact SUV. So indeed, we're really impressed today what Mazda did. We knew already the Mazda 3 in the new generation, and they used all the experience they had here for this car. Just makes sense. But then again, since this one here is more comfortable than the Mazda 3, I think it's really the bargain. Comfort with the sport, and deciding between those two. And I can very well imagine that people go from the CX-5 down if they say, I don't need all the space and I'm just happy with that. Maybe it's also a better package here. As well as from the CX-3 up, so inside the Mazda customers. Because now, if you pay a couple of €1,000 more, then you directly get this one here with all the new stuff, and it's indeed just a better vehicle, definitely. Yeah, covered different aspects here of driving. Just very convincing overall, no matter now if you're motorway and also here. And even here, if we're not cruise control, the consumption figure is relatively constant. I think we can definitely be happy with that. Also good view to the digital instruments, the middle part digital, right and left side analog, I would say. Holger, any more comments to the car?
No, it's all fine.
So Holger also agrees, and I would say definitely big thumbs up for the job that Mazda has done here. And now we have switched vehicles directly to the new Skyactiv-X. Here also 2-liter of displacement, but 180 horsepower, and with this self-ignition technology, so a technology from a diesel in a petrol engine, supposed to combine more performance but less fuel consumption at the same time, so to say. That's what they claim, but of course we want to find out ourselves. I have been driving that one in the prototype, but now of course the final production model. Really excited to do that here right now. Also, this car is equipped with the all-wheel drive, so this will be also pretty exciting. And of course, first we want to know how spontaneous is the reaction from the engine and so on, and is it really that performing? Let's put it in the second gear, and that was like 50 to 90. So definitely we feel there's a difference to the smaller petrol engine, yes, but that's also, the 60 horsepower difference, that definitely also plays a role, Well, definitely a difference in the acceleration, and what I also feel is a difference here when we, for example, second gear and we're going uphill, there's something happening, there's something coming. So off-camera moderation, I also had a situation with the smaller petrol engine where I was going uphill, second gear, and the car was really struggling. So if you if you need to get up hills quite frequently, then this upgrade can definitely make sense. Other than that, although the acceleration was faster, yes, the base characteristic of the engine does not feel too different. So you would not feel like, oh, I'm driving a completely different engine concept. So it does not feel like a difference between petrol and diesel, for example. It rather feels like the normal petrol engine, just that you have a little bit more power. First by this 60 horsepower plus, but then also, since you have somewhat like a compressor, but it's not directly a feeling of a turbo engine. So the feeling of a turbo engine would, like when I would accelerate now, and then now that turbo would set in and would give some boost. But here it's again also this rather linear power delivery. So not a diesel, rather feels like a naturally aspirated petrol engine with a little bit more power, but not a turbo feeling. So that's how I would characterize this one. Is it the game changer? If you just think about, why couldn't they just do like a normal, stronger petrol engine? And honestly, I think that would have been sufficient. So I don't think that the difference between, adding the Skyactiv-X technology instead of just adding a little bit more horsepower is like, you feel it, yes, but it's not super, super significant. So it hopefully can't hurt. So there's no long-term experience with this new technology yet. So I can't really say if I would recommend it or not. That's the thing. I was actually also quite happy with the smaller petrol engine. Of course, at some point you might want to have a little bit more power if you have like frequent motorway rides, for example, and you need to overtake. Or what you can also do is, when you're, as I said, going up and downhill quite a lot, then you might be just happy with the stronger engine. But I think really it's more about having that stronger engine than, having at any cost this Skyactiv-X. So, yeah, they make a lot of marketing with it. And yes, it's a new and very interesting technology. But I think a normal, stronger petrol engine would have done the job here as well. About the all-wheel drive, do you feel that on dry road? Not at all. It might make a difference then when you have like very slippery conditions or so, if that's something what you seek. Other than that, you can also get it without all-wheel drive. The consumption will also be a little bit higher with the all-wheel drive. The basic function is front plus rear, so on demand then as well, but the base characteristic will still be front-wheel drive, of course. Now we have some free room here, and we can again do some acceleration. Let's start at about 30, because we did that with the other car earlier. We started with 30 in the second gear, so we have direct comparison now. We can go to 90. And that's 90. And here you realize maybe I could stay in second gear all the time. That's different, and definitely came faster than the other one. So yeah, there is a big difference, definitely, but there will also be a significant price difference. So the other question again is if that's worth the money for you. Overall, again, the car is really fun to drive, and yes, it is more fun to drive with this engine because you just have a little bit more power, and there won't be so many situations where you get uphill and I'm in third gear and maybe I have to shift back to second gear, and so you also have a little bit less shifting with this engine version here. This also, of course, adds a little bit more comfort, especially when you have the manual gearbox. But yeah, maybe then the smaller petrol engine with automatic gearbox could be a compromise in between. Automatic also is extra price, so always the question is, for which do you pay the extra price? Now I'll reset the consumption meter, because I also want to know when we keep it rather steady, don't make any acceleration tests and so on, how low can we get the consumption here? Always depends a little bit on the topography, so try to check out that we're not going downhill all the time, that we also have some uphill in there. The all-wheel drive will be a little bit higher as for the fuel consumption than this compressor that is working. We'll probably also put a little bit higher. Then again, this technology Mazda promises, due to the self-ignition, will be very efficient. So this then could be less of a difference. We'll definitely find out. We're still here now on a short loop, and we get to a, it's not a real motorway, but a faster route that we can test it better, because here now, going downhill, I'll reset it just in front of that again to have a more realistic value, definitely. Let's see, when I, for example, here I can, for example, stay in third gear. Of course, I want to go back to second gear now. So definitely the car with the stronger engine makes it a little bit more drivable. Here, for example, the smaller petrol engine, I would have to push a little bit more. So it also adds some comfort here just to go with the stronger engine. So now it's a good test. We'll also put the cruise control 90, and now I'll reset the consumption meter, and let's see how that one plays out. Of course, we'll also watch it over a while. So if money does not play any role, of course you can always get the stronger engine. You have a little bit more acceleration, a little bit more comfort, a little bit less shifting especially. But if the price is really what matters, then you can also go with the smaller engine. Just be aware that sometimes you have to shift down a little bit more and you have to push it. But then again, those naturally aspirated engines, when you keep them at higher RPMs, they're also very well drivable. Maybe they scream a little bit more than, but those turbos, which we are used to in most of the cars nowadays, there you can keep it at a little bit lower RPM. The turbo is working and helping you. And again, if you have a naturally aspirated engine, there's no turbo that can possibly break. So that's also an advantage then in this case. So this road will continue. Next one, that's very nice with this cork. Or here in this situation, for example, and we have come to a standstill and need to accelerate again. It's a little bit easier to get going then once more. So here we go again. Of course, we have some acceleration in there now, but that's just also normal life. Now I'll put it 90 again. Also put it in 6th gear and put the cruise control once more. Overall, again, a very positive driving feeling, and just confirm this calm ride. And this car is also decent as for the fun it creates. So I think they found overall a good setting, a good compromise right there. Everything else in two cars feels absolutely the same, and it's also very important for us to test different vehicles on location, because maybe like something that is good or something that is bad is sometimes maybe like just coincident and just in one car, and when you've driven 2 or 3 different cars, and you can say like, okay, that's what the vehicles really like. What we, for example, noticed also, Holger, when we were filming outside, those new Mazda cars had in the like Mazda 3, also in the CX-5 as well. I'm not sure if those like stickers in the engine bay or some adhesives or whatever. They tend to smell a little bit from the outside, like some rubber parts would be burning off. That is at some point also normal, or like maybe something in the exhaust system, maybe something like this. It's just one thing we noticed. It doesn't mean it's something necessarily bad or so. This vehicle is also absolutely fresh. It has like 60 kilometers or something, so absolutely nothing. But it's just, everything we notice, we also want to share with you. And, well, the first result here, I mean, it was a little bit downhill also, but at the moment we have 5 liters in 1 kilometer, and that would be like, high in the 40 mpg regions, so that's pretty interesting. But there's also the next uphill coming, so it will be another good test for us. But it seems like, from the first impression, it's really more about how you drive the car, how much RPM you really get out of it. I mean, the engine itself has, of course, also shared parts, so that might be also, a reason for that. That is maybe not like the the biggest difference. And I also take a look at the consumption figures that are already in the car from drivers that were in the car before. As we rather keep it steady for consumption tests, we usually score a little bit lower consumption figures than other journalists on location. And the car before had 7.5 liters. So then that would be a little bit higher than we scored with the smaller petrol engine. But yet again, you know, when you punch it a little bit more, that's of course no wonder then overall. So we get to the next roundabout here as well. And I really enjoy driving it. Brakes could be a little bit more aggressive, I think. Yeah, definitely has more power also when going out of those roundabouts. So it's more enjoyable, more sporty. Yet again, this smaller petrol engine also gave me some tranquility, some, you know, some silence and calmness. So this can also be an advantage, having not so much extra acceleration power, because then at some point you say like, you know, I can't be that fast anyway, so I can also relax a little bit more. You know, just giving you a pro and con arguments for that. Yeah, and we'll finish this loop for you, so we can tell you a little bit more than in our conclusion how that ends up. And now to our conclusion for today with the all-new Mazda CX-30. From the exterior, definitely a likable design. If those black claddings here need to be that large, okay, that's maybe another discussion. But overall, I think it still works, and they really have very interesting colors at Mazda recently. The interior with a high build quality and also quite functional. And they really thought about what do the customers need and where do we need to put it. So whatever you're searching, usually it's at the right point where you can use it. And this was also a very positive experience. Also very nice fabric base seats we found there, and this blue interior, that was really lovely. So also nice and a little bit more fresh ideas. And I think if you look at the exterior dimensions and what space you have in the interior, it's somewhat a very good compromise. And indeed, also when you think about the X5, the bigger one, and the CX-3, the smaller one, I think both customers will probably end up buying this one because it's indeed, you know, just a good mix. And if you think about this very segment, also of the competitors, this one here is probably the best price-performance ratio, because for the, taking the German entry price 24K, this one comes with so much included equipment already than for other competitors you would pay like 8,000 or 9,000 euros extras. So a very, very attractive price offering. Of course, the first petrol engine we tested here today, I mean, it's not a super strong engine, but for most use cases it will still be enough. And if you need some power at some point, you can always put it up to the RPMs and really hammer it. That's still possible. I still think it's really nice to have those naturally aspirated engines. They're hardly available on the market anymore. And just have a like smooth and linear power output. So this one, to me, is a unique selling point here with Mazda. And now you have to think about automatic gearbox, all-wheel drive, or upgrading from this one to the Skyactiv-X, which we've also driven. Yeah, good question. I would go for the automatic, about 2,000 euros extra. All-wheel drive, 2,500 euros extra. Yeah, maybe someone needs it if you like living like in mountain regions or whatever. Most people won't need it probably. And then the Skyactiv-X upgrade would be 2,500 euros for the stronger engine. It's not a super complete different experience. The final extra consumption was about a liter plus. So you like 5 mpg or something less. So you can live with that, I think. Yes, you have a little bit more fun due to more power. But then again, the same displacement. So I think in this case, I would go automatic yes, all-wheel drive no, and Skyactiv-X upgrade also no. Again, to keep the price low. I would probably only need the Bose sound system to get, you know, the music enjoyment. I'm always listening to music. And yeah, maybe this blue dashboard there or something. And the automatic gearbox. And then it would be finished. I could really drive this car below 30K. That's really astonishing. And probably some other competitors will be like 40K if you think about the Volkswagen T-Roc, for example. So I think now this edition probably among the best in segment, and definitely at the moment I think the best price performance ratio in this small is maybe a little small. Small would be CX-3. So let's say this compact SUV segment. Very interesting. So what do you think? Please give me some feedback to this vehicle. to all the things we've shown you today. Which one would you go for? Which engine would you pick and which trim? Please discuss it in the comments and also tune in next time.